people will reject the solution to the problem that is worse because they look at it and say, nope, that makes it more arcadey. That makes it more casual.
And people
now you sit in a bush and camp there. That's as casual and arcadey as you can get.
Right. Like yeah. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jesse Kazam.
And I'm a Tarkov simp.
Dude, I was gonna...
that makes excuses whenever BSG misses a deadline or delays a feature.
I was going to just cut you off and say, and this is my co-host, the Tarkov simp. Holy cow, that is exactly what I wanted to talk about, dude. I laughed so hard at that. Oh,
it's almost like people just don't like me for who I am as a person.
For context for the listeners, Veritas was just tweeting about were you responding to like a message in the thread of that original guy that was talking about Baldur's Gate?
It was his 10th out of 10th message.
Yeah.
Now, also, let's step back one more layer for context. I've been working 8 hours a day every single day for the last 2 weeks putting together a video. So I'm like literally living, breathing, sleeping, and eating, drinking Starfield and Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
In order to make this video that I'm working on. and I retweet, well, I basically like quote tweeted what the guy said. He basically said, if you shout that every RPG should be like this going forward, you have no excuse. He's claiming you've not just missed the point, you've created the expectations and conditions to ensure your favorite creators may never be able to give you the thing you love ever again.
And
then no, go ahead.
Which once again, I didn't read the other like stream of consciousness that came from, but just reading that tweet is like mind bender of a terrible take.
I mean, the first thing he says when he summarizes in like the TikTok videos was it's an anomaly.
Yeah.
And because it's an anomaly, it should not be a standard going forward.
I can't.
It's like he goes to clarify the thing that he said that was like there must be some nuance by summarizing it with an even more succinct way of saying. So I basically responded with, Starfield is the perfect example of why we need to hold devs to higher standards. The essence of what makes Baldur's Gate 3 a masterpiece, the passion and attention to detail, is precisely what Starfield is devoid of. Gamers need to raise our standards or we'll continue to get junk. Like, and so many of the people respond basically saying, you can't compare this game, you can't compare, they're two different games with two different genres. And it's like, I keep having to say, they both have characters, they both have stories, they both have dialogue, they both have worlds to explore. They might be different genres, but all of those things are comparable regardless of the genre.
But
you can compare it to a cartoon. It doesn't matter.
For sure. The winner of like least IQ tweet,
the Twitter Darwin Awards,
was somebody responded, bro, I don't want to hear that from a Tarkov simp. How many times have you made excuses for whenever a BSG misses a deadline or delays a feature?
Just like I said, it's almost like people just don't like me, and then they have to disagree with whatever I say, and then either make up about me or, well, usually just make up about me.
Oh my god, dude, that just like that.
Oh, maybe they did confuse me for you. Maybe that actually makes more sense. Did you see my Starfield character? My Starfield character, I tried to make me and it looks more like you.
Oh my god, that's amazing. It's just so funny because it's like, the thought of like, I need to win this argument here, so I'm gonna pull something from like that. To me, it's the same type of response of like, bro, I don't want to hear that from a round earther. How many times have you made excuses for like, it's just like he brought an unrelated topic in and was just so like, he didn't even have to show us he was that stupid. Like, he could have just said, bro, I don't want to hear that from you. Shut up. But he brought in another layer of stupid to like, here, also take this. And I just like, when people do that, it just, mwah. It's
Bro,
so good.
I'm literally struggling so hard with like, and I actually want your opinion on this. I think this might actually be worth like talking about. I have rewritten the intro to this video like 27 times.
Oh, okay.
Because here's what happens. I feel like I need to get all the caveats
I do the
and all
same
the
thing,
disclaimers out of, and my intro is 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
And what it ends up being is I need to set the stage for, I made a video before. People responded with this. Here were the criticisms I got. Here's kind of why they were wrong.
Yeah.
Here's how Starfield and Baldur's Gate, how they were critically reviewed. Let me explain why it's important given the context of like this guy's tweet and needing to compare games and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it should be fair to be able to compare. And it's like, part of me just wants to be like, Starfield's garbage. And here's why. Boom. And then just clip, and then not put any thought into like.
Yeah. So I think there's like a few ways you can go about it. I tend to do that as well. I tend to over intro. Like I recently did we talked about the video. It was called like the weight system is hurting the wrong people in Tarkov. And I remember when I got the edit back from my editor, I was like, this intro is too long. And he was like, I agree. He was, you know, but he's like, this was the A-roll you filmed. And so like we were, because it's the same thing. I'm like, well, I don't want this. And I make sure this, and I want to make sure you know this, and I don't want this. And we can do it this way, and we can do it. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't said anything. I haven't like started the video yet. So, but I've also consumed videos that are like that and been fine with it because I like going through that mental process with people. So I feel like you kind of either, in my opinion, the three options are you go like hard one way, hard the other, or try your best to ride the middle, which is like what I've seen some people do well, which is like get a quick intro and then take those things that you like qualify and sprinkle them throughout the video. Like when you change your subject on what the thing, then you make a little qualification there. And then when you change the subject on now I'm criticizing the narrative, here's why I can criticize the narrative. When I'm criticizing the graphics, here's why I can. And I've seen some people do that. You still get some people who obviously don't make it all the way through the video and then therefore don't hear all those things and then, you know, go to ham. But that's the only way you get in the middle of either just going Starfield sucks and here's why, or just committing to the 6-minute intro, you know, which I don't think any is inherently, you know, we've both swing and a miss enough times on the YouTube algorithm that I don't know what's better anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, my Hoda bar build guide video, the line's like this now. It's at like 33,000 views, and
who knows?
Games, I thought the game was dead. I haven't looked at it in forever, and apparently now's the time. But like I mean, that's a good point. I could maybe try to like sprinkle it throughout. The problem is that all of those caveats and all of that preparation, it's really there for two kinds of people. The first kind are the people that wouldn't listen to it and wouldn't get that far in the video, so it wouldn't matter.
Yep.
And then there are a bunch of people that just kind of want to see like they just want to see Starfield roasted, or they want to learn more about Baldur's Gate, you know, whatever. And they're kind of like, oh, you know, whatever. And then the other kind of people, I guess, are the ones that are maybe a little bit more reasonable, but are like skeptical, and that sets the stage for them to be like, okay, so far reasonable. Whereas if I just jump in and say, you know, something like, because again, you also need to entice people to want to watch the video
for sure, and
to stick past the first 30 seconds. So part of me wants to be like, I'll spoil the I mean, it's going to be out before Monday anyway, hopefully. Although I'm going to be gone this weekend, so maybe not. But like the intro is effectively at the end, it's me saying, after playing Baldur's Gate, after going back and putting 70 hours into Starfield, playing through the main quest, doing a bunch of everything, I was wrong about the game. It's drastically worse than I thought.
That's a great intro.
Maybe I could just do a more succinct version of that, because I get to that about 3.5 minutes in, but I do that after, like I said, kind of caveating everything.
Yeah. That's, dude.
But
so
I feel
recently
like that's
I made
when
a
people are
Starfield
gonna
video. Yeah.
They're gonna chat and they're gonna off, and then they'll be harassing me on Twitter for the next month. No matter what I post, they're gonna be like, still complaining about whatever, and I'm gonna be like, it's gonna be like, oh damn, they forgot my Frosty a DQ, and people are gonna be like, always complaining, bro.
Yep.
Why are you complaining, bro?
That is what they sound like.
That's my Twitter feed, dude.
I mean, you could attempt to like sprinkle the qualifications through the video, and then pre-qualify that in the intro, saying like, I'm gonna I do that where you're like, I made this video, I got a really visceral reaction, so I went back and I played it, and it's worse than I thought. If you give me the time, I'll explain why I can, you know what I mean? Like almost like let them know that is the plan. I'll explain why I can.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what I got to do. That's
so you don't make all those qualifications in the beginning, but you say, if you give me the time, I will show you with these two games, and along the way, I'll explain why I can make these connections. And then you've kind of like shorter intro, you sprinkled it through.
Yeah, I can say that in like a paragraph.
Yeah,
you know,
and then you can get into the video in like a minute or two or whatever.
Because I've been watching a ton of videos that have been super funny, super entertaining. They have been all of the criticism videos about Starfield, except for one. I watched one from like a small content creator that was basically like, Starfield story is garbage.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, somebody
else out there.
And I watched it, and the interesting thing is that like a Venn diagram of our points, they only kind of overlapped. Like he had like 10 more things to say about why he hated it and why it was bad. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's also fucking but every other video is kind of what you would expect, where it's all the memes thrown in with just like, so then I went to go do this, and you see the person like glitching through the floor, and like it's basically kind of like my little highlight videos, but with a little bit of commentary in between, talking about how you know, but it's not like it's making really a coherent argument. It's not a video essay, or whatever. And part of me kind of like wants to go that route. But yeah, what I'm literally doing is just going through, and it's major things about like characters, emotional, whatever, dialogue, and it's just like, here's an example from Starfield. Here's an example from Elite Dangerous. Here's an example from It's mostly Baldur's Gate, but I throw some stuff in there from Elite Dangerous, a few things from like Outer Wilds.
I mean, you're of course, like, you just have to know you're signing up to get the exactly that like, you can't compare these games, they're different, and that's just wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just like, and once again, the answer to that is nuance, right? If we're talking about like, what's the I'm blanking on the word, but what's the like foundational thought or thesis or something being brought forward? Like, when people said, do you think Starfield will kill Star Citizen? My response was, you cannot compare those games. And I felt that was a valid response, because the foundational argument here is, can Starfield kill Star Citizen?
That's like,
literally Star Citizen is attempting to be an MMO where like the actual core foundational piece to every single experience in the game is that it's multiplayer and that there are people everywhere, whereas Starfield, so because
then couple the fact that they're not mutually exclusive, that some people will play one because of the other.
Exactly. So in that context, I felt like I could say you can't compare those two games in that way. When your thesis you're bringing to the table is like, Starfield's narrative is garbage, let's look at all these other games that are structured well and dialogue. In that sense, I think you can't compare these two games is a ridiculous argument, because what we're talking about is not will one game kill the other, or can you compare the games and what their gameplay provides. It's they both have dialogue, and the dialogue in both games does have the same purpose, which is to entertain and bring the player on some sort of emotional journey. So maybe the writers were attempting to do different things, but we can hold them in the same conversation. We can do that if that's the thesis.
Did you see any of the like clips I was showing before, right before you came in?
No, I just sat down when I popped in.
So like just a couple of examples that are just like, again, people are going to say the dialogue is subjective. I disagree in the cases I'm going to be making, where it's like, look at these 6 options you get in Baldur's Gate, how different they are, how they let you play roles. Uh-oh. My boy's frozen again. Oh no. They'll be back in 3, 2, 1. Oh, Jesus Christ! Holy. The timing on that. Did you guys see that?
Am I still frozen?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, no, you're not frozen, but no, you're framey. Okay, you're better. Holy! I was like 3, 2, 1, and then it just changed. That's horrifying, dude. If you need to upload my side of that. Yeah. So like I said, I'm gonna explain why the dialogue is better in so many ways that I think are not going to be very controversial. They might be subjective, but not controversial, right? Like taste is subjective. But if I come in and say pizza's good, it's not like not controversial, right? Like
exactly.
There's in one of the sequences in the game, it's like one of the major like tension points in the game. It's the first time you're like in your little, you've probably seen like The Office, where all the people in like Constellation, they all work out of that, like looks like an old man smoking room. The big bad alien, not an alien, but I'm not gonna, like, I won't say what, they come to there and they attack you there. Okay. Now let me explain to you what happens in this sequence. There's an old man, like the old guy who's like the rich dude that's like financing everything. He's standing there, and then randomly he takes 20 steps backwards, and then all of a sudden is getting choked by an invisible thing. And then the guy appears and then starts shooting. There's no music. It's completely quiet. And then he falls over, the guy appears, starts shooting. Everybody's like panicking. Someone's like, "Oh my god, protect the artifacts." And if you just stand there, everybody's invincible. You don't need to protect anything. And then everybody runs for their lives, but it's like you hear just like footsteps on the concrete. Like, it's quiet, and you run for like a minute. Like 60 seconds is a long time. Where there's basically no music. Nothing's chasing you. They're like, "Run, what are you doing? Don't stand there, run." And I just stood there and looked down the hallway, and nothing came. And then the final boss fight, the final, you know, like the final thing, one of the dialogue options is like, because it's basically like, fight us or you have one last chance to, like, you know, tell us what you think. And I just hit auto persuade, and the guy goes, "Well, it's been a while since I felt this old." And he looks at the other big baddie, and the other big baddie goes, "Yeah, I think that's all resolved." There's no music, and then it's just you like walk to the credits thing. It's like, that's the final dragon fight, Parthenax on the mountain. I hit auto persuade. There's no music. The two guys go, "Okay, cool," and then the game's over. You can't tell me that they spent $400 million on the game. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not being like unreasonable
Yeah.
when I look at that.
Oh my God.
If someone says, I really enjoyed the ending, fine.
Yeah.
Fine, good for you. That doesn't make that like uh, if you want to give that 100 out of 100.
Yeah.
I'm
It's like
sorry,
there's
but
I enjoyed the game, and then there's a declaration that this is a masterpiece. Those are different things.
yeah, if a guy wants to sit there and stick a needle in his eye and he's like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to prevent me from doing this? Like, you could do, dude, it's fine. You can do that. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong
Yeah.
for doing that. I just personally don't enjoy needles in my eyes, so I'm going to not do that. But you do you, bro. Just don't tell me that when I'm like, I don't like that I'm somehow being,
Just let people enjoy it.
well, yeah, so that was the other thing. And of course, the guy never came back.
Yeah, of course.
I wanted to actually have a conversation because they just dropped the bomb and you never, like, I think they're bots. I just don't understand
Yeah.
when people say, bro, why do you care? Just let people enjoy it.
Yeah.
Why do you care? Let me enjoy roasting it.
Yeah.
Because it deserves it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same thing how a lot of people are with like religion. I am with religion as these people should be with my video game takes. As long as you don't come knocking on my door, constantly proselytizing to me and my loved ones, bothering me, whatever, then it's fine. Do whatever the fuck you want in the privacy of your own home, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to come to my Twitter.
Yeah.
Nobody forced you to interact with or read my tweets. Block me if I upset you, right?
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
I just don't understand. I'm not like kicking. People act as if I kick down doors.
Yeah.
And I'm
that's
like,
the thing.
Put down the mouse and keyboard. Uninstall Starfield right now. Are you having fun?
I'm sorry. Dude, yeah, it's weird. It's weird because it's just weird because like in a large way they're seeking out your opinion, to then just and then pretending that you are shoving it down their throat. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
I must show up on their like For You page or something.
Their Twitter, whatever. I don't know.
Like half the time they're following me, half the time they're not, and it's like I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know.
But yeah, that's been my life. But thank you for the idea. Now I'm gonna rewrite it for the 28th time.
Yes. Yes. I'm excited to see the video.
It's full of memes. It also has a slightly different ending.
Yeah.
Than normal. But.
I am excited to see it because I haven't played Baldur's Gate and I haven't played Starfield. You know what I mean? And I enjoyed the comparisons, and like it's just crazy that people think you can't compare with what you're talking about, but yeah. That's exciting. That's cool. Not a whole lot happening out here in Tarkov land, let me tell you. Let me tell you what.
There's more happening in Tarkov Twitter than there is in Tarkov.
Yeah. Yes, there is. But I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, I don't know. There was a little patch. They did some bug fixes. Sounds good. That's where I put it autocorrected to 6. But that's not what I meant to put in the notes.
The game's 6.
The game's 6.
I'm enjoying it, dude. Let me enjoy it. Why do you have to?
Yeah. 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 Oh, dude, speaking of like, it reminded me when we were talking about the you're a Tarkov simp and the whole concept of like just doubling down in weird ways. Somebody got super mad today. Somebody shot at me and I ended up killing the guy, and he pre-fired me, So when I took damage, I immediately was like, this guy is good, because he knew I was gonna, like, I literally ran across the hall so that I could right hand peek it, and he knew. So like he started shooting, and I was like, damn, I was like, good shot. I ended up killing him, and it was whatever. And somebody in chat said, was like, oh, that was sus. Like, he shot before you even peeked. And I was like, no, I was like, he just knew what he was doing. Like, he knew I was gonna re-peek. Like, I knew I was gonna re-peek, and he almost won that fight because of it. And then somebody came in super hard and strong about like cheaters and just like, you're toxic if you do this or X, Y, or Z. Like you're the people who claim, it was weird. It was hostility from the opposite direction. It was like people who claim cheaters are like ruining the community and ruining everything or whatever. And it was just weird.
People who claim cheaters are ruining the community?
No, people who like think they're being cheated on. Normally the aggression is from people who are like, there's cheaters everywhere, man. But this guy was like super aggressive. If you think that there are cheaters in your raid, you're ruining the community, whatever.
I feel like it's like 60-40 from what I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, obviously we were talking about cheaters and stuff like that. And somebody was like, somebody came into chat and was like, anybody know where I can buy cheats to get me to level 42 and get me a few million rubles? And that was the only message. So the mods hit him with like a timeout, like 10-minute timeout, right? Like it wasn't a ban. And it was like, we're not going to go down this road. If you're joking, you didn't put a kappa, but we didn't ban him. We just timed him out. And he came back, dude. And he was so mad. He was like, dude, what the hell did I get timed out for? And
yeah, what like, you always love the first message, like, what the It's like, okay, well,
and it was so
5 more minutes.
And then the way he doubled down on it was this, I swear to God. He said, literally everybody knows that there isn't a single cheat for this game that gets you to level 42 and gets you whatever, it was the exact number of rubles he asked for. Everybody knows that. You knew I was joking. And I was like,
what?
Yeah, I was like, hey man, you didn't get banned. I know that was embarrassing. I was like, this is your moment. Like, let's just move on. Like, I'm glad you're here. This is your moment. And then he was like, dude, everybody knows that there isn't a cheat like that. That's not the cheat. I would have asked for something else if I was asking for cheats. And I was like, my brother in Christ, you're doubling down on a really weird thing. Like, and then he never said anything else ever again. I don't think he ended up getting banned, but it was just
oh
like,
my God, don't you hate that, dude?
It was just like, yes, I do.
That's the shit that keeps me up at night when someone's like, you know what I think about you? And I'm like, what? And then they never respond. Yeah. And I'm like, for 6 months from now, I'm like, God damn it. I wonder what like ding dong 98.
Yeah.
Underscore thought about me.
It was such a weird thing to double down on. The like, everybody knows that there isn't a cheat that, and then he basically just like copy and pasted the original message. There's no, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
I think he was just confused.
Yeah, it was honestly hilarious. Obviously, cheating is a huge thing in the community still. Like, it is getting pretty rough. I've died to more blatant cheaters in the past few weeks than I have in a while. But I think the big thing is like, I think a huge thing in the cheater community, we had this, or not in the cheater community, but in the community when we're talking about cheaters, is like everybody's opinion is so like deep and well worn, and yet so fragilely threatened is what it seems like to me. So like, okay. That guy today, he was like, he literally, I mean, he said some we banned him 3 messages and he says he went Monka super fast. He was just like, people who call cheaters are the worst. They're ruining the community and the country. And it's just like, it got so weird so fast. And I was like, where did that come from? And we talked after that, after we banned him, we were like,
was the second message like Hitler did nothing wrong?
Yeah,
and
it was like,
okay.
we were like 2 messages away from that, bro. It was crazy. And we talked about it after, where it was like, he was like, what makes people so offended, like so deeply? Because the guy who originally said in chat, like, yo, that was sus, he shot at you before you peeked. It was literally like a teaching opportunity. That was immediately how my brain took it. Like, I wasn't mad at him at all. I didn't think he was being weird. I was like, no. I was like, That's like, this is like, immediately before this guy messaged, I was like, no, that's meta PvP, man. Like, he knows I'm taking the right hand. He knows I'm going to crouch peek that. So he threw some shots out. I did it. He hit me, but he didn't hit the headshot. I was like, he knew, man. I was like, GG's, he's a good player. It was a learning opportunity for the guy who thought that was sus. The assumption is always that, like, like, this guy knows everything about everything and thinks this. Like, this guy knows what's going on. He knows how cheese works, and he thinks that. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's super weird, man. And it's just like, nobody's just taking the opportunity to think, because what happened was we literally had the exact opposite happen 2 days prior. Okay. I killed Kaban, and I started looting. I killed Kaban. I killed all the guards. Like, I'm not, in this instance, I'm not fighting another PMC for Kaban. Like, because you can come in Lexos from both ends. So sometimes you get 2 PMCs working through all the guards, trying to get to the middle and get to Kaban, which is kind of fun. I kill all the guards. I run in and I kill Kaban. And I heard like grenades in the distance, whatever, you know what I mean? There were other people on the map. And I kill Kaban and I start looting him. And as soon as I start looting him, I hear full sprinting, wraps around the corner, jump midair, slides, first shot out of his gun, kills me. And I said to Chad, I was like, I bet you $100 he had a labs key card. Like, he had a colored key card. I was like, I bet he had a green or something like that. Like, I died to a cheater. And somebody once again was like, bro, how do you know that's a cheater? And it goes crazy. And everybody gets so offended and so mad. And I was like, let me show you. And I went in the hideout and I showed that guy where when you're running and you jump, your gun is pointed to the ground. When you jump, if you land and hit spacebar again, your gun is pointed up. And that's how you see Desmond. He'll like jump, run, sprint. And then as soon as he hits the ground, he jumps again and he hits these jump shots. But it's on the second jump. Or you run and you stop running and then you jump. But your first jump out of a sprint, if you're full sprinting, your gun is pointed to the ground. And everyone's like, oh, and it just comes. It's like, why do we, like, that guy didn't know that. I've had more sus looking encounters where I've been like, no, that could have been desync. That could have been whatever. That guy was confused as to like, that didn't seem, I've seen people hit crazy jump shots. How are you saying that was a cheater? And it was like, oh, well, I just know that like, literally, you can hear him sprinting, full sprint, he jumps. Like, that's not how you jump, like whatever. And it's just like, so literally in 3 days, I've had to do the same thing for both sides, which is, it takes me 5 seconds to just be like, assume that the guy that's asking. Now, some people ask and you know that they're trying to get a reaction. But in these instances, the
thoughts on.
So in these instances, the messages were legitimately like, can you explain to me how you think that was a cheater? Or like, I thought that guy was sus. You're saying he's not a cheater. And the community is so like, they're so deep and well worn into their opinions, but then they seem so fragile. It's so crazy how mad people get so quickly about the cheater thing. It's wild.
Yeah. In my experience, one of the more common ones was, I actually like could count on one hand the number of obvious cheaters.
Mm-hmm.
Like blatant. Like I've you know, in all the time I spent playing Tarkov, I don't think I ever saw. No, I saw the one fly hacker, but he wasn't even a fly. It was like the stanky leg.
Yeah. Yep.
Hovercraft, which was just more of like an exploit than a hack. But like, people don't follow me around, talk to me through walls or floors or whatever. Like, Desmond always sees some crazy shit. So what usually happens with me is I'm usually sus, and it has to do with way more like nuanced stuff than most people. Most people think the guy one shot me in the head, or he saw me for a frame and I'm dead. And like, to me, with desync and with all of the crazy, that to me like, it just like wipe away almost all of that. But when I am in like a weird, side back closet, obscure building that no one comes to, and I've been AFK eating pasta, talking to chat, and I hear run up to me and then like walk around and then like jump and then like walk around
Yeah.
and then like they'll do like a voice line and then start like throwing grenades in and like
Yeah.
random like that's a little bit more obvious.
Yeah.
But it's like some people just want I'd be like, wow, that wasn't sus, and people would be like, bro, like people clear buildings all the time. Like,
That's the
right.
thing.
They throw grenades. Like they just come up with the wildest justification for why it could have been legit. And the thing is, 3% of the time they're right.
Yeah.
But the 97% of the time, there's another explanation that has nothing to do with like either that or my VoIP was stuck on or some wild thing I was clipping through the wall. But people always come up with explanations for why the weird, wild behavior that happens that people do.
Yeah. It's
and see, like the times, the like 3 or 4 times that I have confirmed that a streamer was cheating before, gotten admissions from them. I went through, you know, like with like the Tarkov anatomy, all that stuff. Similar things to that. Whenever I watch, and actually I even did this with him. I asked him, I'm like, in this situation, you know, I was mentally doing the whole, I'm writing down the prediction, putting it in the envelope and sealing it, and then asking for the thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, why did you do that? And he'll explain it, and I'll be like, that's exactly why I thought, right? I've been able to like confirm so many of the behavioral things that are way more subtle than 99% of the random Twitch chatters.
It's so rough because I feel like the community, like I don't know what the most popular cheats are, but my guess is one of the most popular Tarkov cheats is radar, not walls. But I bet if you ask Twitch chat, because that's the thing, it's like people always get to sus when it's like something desync. And yeah, do some people have walls? Sure, like some people can shoot me through walls, but why would they wait until I swung the corner? I know for a fact in this life that the netcode in this game is wet spaghetti noodles. So there have been plenty of times where I thought it was desync and it was cheats, but I think more times people think it was cheats and it was desync. But something like that, like I think I agree. I'm more sussed out a lot of times with like behavioral things. It's like, how did he know I was here or whatever, which is hard to prove. Because maybe, like you said, maybe they clear their corners, and that has happened before. But it is interesting how, my sus triggers don't go off as much when I got desync killed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's, I think it's information. I think they knew I was there, or they were watching me, or they were waiting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff.
Because one of those things is the reptile brain, and the other thing is like the critical thinking centers of your brain.
Yes,
right?
true.
It's so much easier to be like, oh, bro, you know, they heard you shuffle. And it's like, but that doesn't explain the 5 minutes prior of all of the weird behavior that doesn't, that like nobody has ever done or would do normally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. Now, I have, like, these past few wipes, man, like, I have seen, I was that guy, too, like, literally, like, 3 wipes ago, I was saying, like, I can count on one hand the amount of, like, confirmed blatant. That doesn't mean that I've never been cheated on, but, like, it's crazy. But, like, yeah, man, I've had people, like, calling out my name through walls, calling out Desmond's name through walls. I've been playing with Desmond and watched Desmond kill, like, 5 speed hackers. Like, he kills, it's crazy. I've had, me and Valiant had a speed hacker kill us after we killed Kaban really early in the wipe. Then like situations like that where like that one was less cut and dry to Twitch chat. There were people who were like, I don't know, man, when the guy jumped and killed me after I killed Kaban, I was like, that guy was cheating, and I reported him, and I literally got the thing. It was like, I only reported one person that day, and I got the notification. I was like, dude, I'm like, so it's
I literally haven't played the game since that feature.
So it's been, I mean, I've seen some clips on Twitter. I saw a clip literally today. Trey 24K posted a clip where he was walking on interchange and a speed hacker was like, and he was like, Trey was immediately like, I'm cool, and he threw his gun down. He was like, I'm cool, and the speed hacker was like, no, man, I'm not gonna kill you, Boom, falls over dead. And then Trey looks and there was a guy rolling up and Trey was like, yo, you just killed a cheater. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. That guy dies and another speed hacker shows up and kills Trey. Trey was like, no, like he was like, I thought we had the speed hacker in this raid and a separate one. They could have been together and split off the rip, but a separate one. I've seen a bunch of stuff. Valiant literally
two separate speed hackers in the same lobby this is the least scientific thing I'm ever gonna say.
Yeah.
But like that right there makes me like lose confidence in like if there's two in this one raid,
maybe there's 60%.
Yeah, you know, like you just
yeah. Literally
because you'd think if they were, you know, if it was super rare, then it would be super rare to get two, you know.
Literally like a week or two ago, I could pull up the clip super easily. Valiant was on night customs and a speed hacker I feel like it's all about the reaction. I feel like it's all about how you react is how the cheater is going to address you, because the speed hacker literally just zoop right in front of Valiant, and Valiant like super calm. He was like, oh, hey man, like, hey, I'm chill. I can't do that. Like if I see that, I'm like I can't, but if I was like, oh, hey man, hey, I'm chill. Val pulled his hatchet out. He was like, I'm chill, man. Like, and the guy was like, oh,
some of those people just they know. See, here's the thing. I don't know that what you're saying, what you're about to say, what could apply to literally anybody who wasn't streaming, because I think that so many of these people are just attention whore losers.
I agree. And that's why, just because I see a few clips on Twitter, doesn't mean I think every single person, every one of my raids is cheating. I think a lot of these people make it their business to make it seem like there are more cheaters than there are. And the best way to make it seem like there are more cheaters than there are is to attack streamers, because then they have, you know, a bunch of people. Anyways, Valiant, speed hacker comes up to him. He's like, I'm chill. And then the dude was like, oh, let me grab you something. Zorps away, Zorps back. And he was like, there was a moonshine in Fortress, and drops it for him. And then the cheater for a second looks down to drop more loot, and Vel just switches back to his gun and shoots him in the head and kills him. And it was like sweet justice, but it was just like crazy. So it's definitely, you know, it's rough out there. I don't know. I still play all the time, and most of the time, you know, we're chilling, but it's definitely rough. It's not in the best spot. But the thing is, like, okay, so here's the thing. I can't speak to how many cheaters there are. I can't speak to if it's worse or better. I can't speak to is BSG doing nothing. I can't speak to is BattleEye doing nothing. But what I can speak to, and what I keep running into in the community, which is what we started when we talked about this, which is just like, calm down. Like, just calm down. You know what I mean? If you think that guy was cheating, or if you know for a fact that guy was cheating, and Johnny Pants 69 in whoever's Twitch chat you happen to be in isn't convinced, your life resumes normally. It does not become your sacred mission to convince Johnny Pants 69. Like,
nah, dude, let me live in my bubble where nobody ever says anything that I disagree with, because if you do, it's gonna go nuclear.
It's wild.
Your
and
mother
people
and everybody is gonna, all of your ancestors are gonna feel my wrath.
Yeah,
on
those
Twitter.
People will often literally out themselves in their own arguments, because they'll be like, people like you who don't believe that there are cheaters, or flip it, people like you who call everyone cheaters are ruining the community, you're XYZ. And it's like, there is a nugget of an argument to be made there, but that nugget also applies to you. This guy said, I'm not convinced you're a cheater, and you're calling him explicatives. You're calling him an idiot. You're telling him he's stupid. Like, your toxicity is toxic. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, maybe there are absolutely people out there who, you know, think there are no cheaters in Tarkov, and they're negatively affecting the community by by shining the light somewhere else. Like, yeah, okay, there are definitely, but it's like, you're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? When you just like go nuclear on somebody for either thinking it's whatever. And on both, literally in 1 week, I had to have this conversation with both sides of the argument. So it's like, I can't speak to how many cheaters there are, but it's like, dude, people are so fragile about their opinion. It's wild.
About Starfield and Baldur's Gate, about Democrats, Republicans, about cheaters and not cheaters, about Call of Duty and Tarkov, about
It's just wild.
Dude, I'm like, I'm literally gonna build a nuclear shelter in my backyard because I feel like this is the end times, dog.
Yeah.
Like people are just shutting their brains off one tweet at a time.
one Twitch chat message at a time. So it's like
it's so concerning. Like this is actually like what's happening here.
Yeah.
Like the meta thing, like in the abstract for what we're talking about, you know, this discussion, everything in the world.
Yeah.
It's like that is the most important thing going on for humanity right now is whatever turning point we're passing.
Yeah.
We're like going to hit the point of no return where there's not going to be enough normal people who remember what it's like to be like functioning human beings.
Yeah.
And you're going to go outside. You're like, oh, you know, I'm going to go check the mailbox. And you're going to see two neighbors fighting to the death in the front yard over like the Trump sign.
Not even over that. It'll be over anything. It'll be over peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like it's
and those are gross. If you ask me, peanut butter and fluff is where
Don't you dare! I'll kill you.
Peanut butter and jelly is disgusting.
Wait, are you being serious?
I had PB&J once in my life, and I was like 8, and it was gross.
We just got completely
I thought
derailed.
He froze again.
And here's the completely derailed. One peanut butter jelly. Listen, peanut butter fluff, delicious. No argument there. S tier sandwich for sure. But a classic PB&J, man.
But like, if there's fluff, why the would you do one?
No, I think there's a time and a place, man. I would want.
Listen. Like all memeing aside, I'm sure it's fine. I don't like lobster. People love seafood.
Same.
I don't like fish. Like whatever. I'm sure it's fine. I can't help the fact that when I put it on my tongue, I do not experience pleasure.
Yeah. Well,
it's not like this. I can't decide to like the taste of something.
Well, we got to try again, because if it's been since you were 8, we got to test this theory again.
Chunky or smooth? No, chunky is where it's at. I mean, smooth is fine, but chunky is it's better.
Disagree.
Holy shit.
Dude, huge W on the seafood take, though. If it's from the sea, it's not for me.
Yeah, say that in New England, bud.
Yeah, dude. Listen.
Hey, Donnie, did you get the lobster? No, man, I'm not really a fan of seafood. Yo, let's kill his ass. You rat.
I lived in a big shrimping city on the coast of South Carolina, and it was, I was the odd man out for not liking seafood.
Here we go, Veritas simping for fluff like always. Yeah, I'll simp for fluff any day, dog.
The only other, I mean, I agree that the direction we're going is that all human interaction will be reduced down to like who can dunk on each other the hardest. You know what I mean? And we're seeing the negative effects of that with like those tweets that like we were talking about earlier, where that was like, bro, I'm not going to hear this from a Tarkov simp. It's like in that moment, we laughed about like how funny it was that he would call you a Tarkov simp. But what I would bet was going through his brain was just subconsciously like, I can't just say I disagree with Veritas. I need to dunk on him. Like I need to make him feel like an idiot. And because that's how, you know, Twitter and a lot of social media engagement was. But the thing is that was in the beginning, it was done from professionals, you know, professional trolls with like good comebacks and like good dunks. And now people are either making things up or just like pulling the most random, obscure, not real things to dunk on other people with. And it's just like the human interaction is slowly being reduced to just mush.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me sad.
It's concerning, yeah.
Isn't that concerning?
Bro.
I need to show you that guy's TikToks. Anyways, what?
We need to I would have my mini story time right now.
Okay.
like I was saying before, I overheard my wife, I think on like a work call or something at like, the butt crack of dawn.
Yeah.
I like a command word. My what's the activation phrase
Yeah.
that like took me from a deep sleep to being fully awake. Um my wife was telling this story, and yeah, like I said before, this is me taking control over
Mm-hmm.
my own life.
Yeah.
I have to take power back because it's the only thing that my wife and my family have together to rag on me.
Mm.
It's the one thing that they can like band together
Yeah.
and all laugh at me for. So we were playing Pictionary
Okay.
like Christmas like 4 or 5 years ago or something. Now for those of you that don't know Pictionary, oh wait, was it Pictionary or was it charades? One of those kind
Yeah.
of games where there's a card
Party game.
and it has like a word or a phrase on it, and you either have to either draw it, and like you can't use words, or you act it out or
Yeah.
whatever. And sometimes there's some like, especially the one we were using was like the original Pictionary when I was a kid, so it was like 1996.
Yeah.
So it's like referencing like Bob Dole and like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
real random obscure stuff that like I know that half the people that are there, family members,
Yeah.
especially like my dad's wife's kids are like young in their late teens, early teens.
Yeah.
Um, so this word came up, and I'm like, oh, like there's no way. Like, give me another card because there's no way that
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna be able to guess this. And they were like, okay, what is it? I'm gonna show you the word,
Okay.
and you have exactly an eighth of a second to read what this word is.
Okay. Stomachache.
Damn it! I had never in my life seen the word stomachache written out. I'm like, there's no way you're gonna know what this is. I thought it was like French, and she's like, what is it? I'm like, stomachache? I'm like, I thought it was like a French dish. Yeah, I just thought it was stomach ache. Like I didn't know it was the same word.
You know what's funny?
And it's not like crazy.
You know what's funny though is that like the only reason I got it right was because I was under the pressure to answer quickly. I said stomach ache, and deep in my monkey brain, I was saying, Jesse, that's stupid. That's 2 words. You got it wrong.
It looks like stomachache,
Stomachache,
dude.
yeah. It's funny, but it's like I thought there was a part of me going, Jesse, don't say stomach ache. Stomach ache is 2 words.
Yeah, I know. See, that's the thing.
But I just was like, stomach ache. Stomachache.
So I literally heard stomachache, and then my wife laughed, and I was like, what?
Yeah, you're sleeping.
And I text her, I'm like, did you just say stomachache? Like I can't believe it.
Oh my God.
And I just get the little bloop, Megan react with laughing emoji. I'm like,
Stomachache.
Stomachache.
That's hilarious.
So then randomly we'll be like, at like Thanksgiving dinner or whatever, and someone will be like, oh, you know what the craziest thing is? And it's always like some like, you know what, something, and I'm like, what? Stomachache. I'm like, you assholes.
I got a stomachache from eating too much turkey. Oh, that's...
you make one stupid mistake and you'll never live it down. Like, holy I just never thought that like stomachache was one word.
Yeah, that was... I think
like blue moon. Would you think it was a blue moon? Like one word?
I definitely like if I
accident.
If I ever texted someone I had a stomach ache, it definitely would have been 2 words, for sure.
I wonder if the phone even auto corrects. Hi, this is Claire Gilbert from the Georgia Innocence Project. I'm thrilled to share that Joey Watkins is exonerated.
Claire Gilbert.
I never. Did you ever listen to Serial, the podcast Serial?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it was very good. Multiple seasons,
I've
like
heard, yeah.
true crime. I think Joey Watt. I don't. The name doesn't ring a bell. But apparently he was exonerated. God, that's the second person that I know has been covered in the Serial podcast as someone who's been falsely imprisoned for like
Woof.
20 something years. And so far they're like 2 for 2. Like,
jeez.
oh God.
Woof.
Let's text Claire Gilbert and see.
Stomachache.
No, I mean, you type stomach and then you type space and it's like, okay, it's not going to autocorrect when you do 2 words.
Yeah,
It's not going to recommend that you like combine them.
No.
Weird, dude. Anyway, that's my stomachache.
That's the stomachache. I love that.
Self-deprecation for your boy today.
Because
if anybody's going to make fun of me, it's going to be me.
It's going to be me. Damn it. That's hilarious. That was a long diatribe from cheating in Tarkov. But yep. That's the only other Tarkov cheating thing that I forgot to mention was I don't know if it's a new cheat or if it's a bug. Honestly, we play a game where let's play who can tell the difference between bugs or actual cheats. But like it's happening to a bunch of people, and it happened like 8 times to Valiant in the past week or like the past few days, where just all the doors on the map are open, all of them, including locked doors. So he's just like scavving in and like the 5 million ruble keys. He's just like walking in, but it's not every raid. And so like a bunch of people think it's like cheaters opening all the doors. A bunch of people think it's just like a bug where it's happening.
Even the doors are like pointless doors. Like
some of them, yeah. Some of the doors, like some doors don't open. Some doors like should open but aren't opened yet. And some of those are open. Some of them aren't. It happened to a friendly guy on labs where like all the
Oh, you wait, like doors that aren't interactable, like the one over by like the forklift spawn.
Yeah, like
on
some
factory,
yeah,
the one
some
next
of
door.
those doors like are open that aren't interactable by players.
It could also be another possibility. It's unlikely, but just another one to add to your arsenal, your little toolkit of possible explanations are scavs. Because
it's every door on the entire map.
Well, I know, but anytime you see a door, like you could. So, okay, there's multiple things. One, are you sure it's every door, or is it every door you came across and it just happened to be a lot of doors, so it was safe to assume? I don't know if people are going around like checking all the doors, but I know that there have been multiple cases where I've seen scavs opening doors that are not openable.
That
like the
factory
one...
door, yeah. I've seen scavs open a bunch. It's like every door, and they're all buggy. So like if Velian, like when it's happened to him, any door that's open, if he goes to close it, it'll bug out and close and then reopen. So like something weird has happened, and every door that he interacts, if he tries to close it, it like freaks out, and then you can open again, even if you don't have the key.
Are any of those people playing with other people?
So that was something that we tried, was that like we could never get it to replicate when me and him were in a raid together.
That sounds like it could be a client side thing.
But it didn't happen every time. It's happened to multiple people across multiple maps, and like Velian like has done it multiple times on his scav and like gotten all the loot, like extracted with it. Like
it sounds like a client side.
Because what's weird is a lot of people think it's cheats because there have been cheats where like people can unlock doors and stuff like that. The weird thing is that I haven't seen a single clip of them ever being looted.
Oh, wait, but the doors are open.
But the doors are open. Yeah, but all the loot is still there. And you can make an argument that they were only after the LEDX, but it's like really valuable loot. 2 million ruble keys.
Yeah, no chance. Absolutely no chance.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, if it's a cheater and they're opening all the doors, they would suck up all the loot.
Nah, dude, must have been the wind.
So it's weird. I don't know what's going on there. Nothing is completely ruled out, but it's weird, and it hasn't been happening. It hasn't been happening at all to me. So I'm not cool enough to get the fun bug. But yeah. The only like other Tarkov related thing isn't even like an event that's been happening. I think I'm gonna make a video on this, so I just wanted to like bounce some ideas, not ideas, but but like get your take on some things. So not at all to get into like any of the drama that's been happening, but so much of the drama or so much of the takes or so much of the complaining or so much of the whatever happening in the Tarkov community is like about ratting. You know what I mean? It's like it's so much of it. I mean, there's a lot about other stuff too, but one of the most contentious topics is like ratting. People are always ratting. Why don't people move? Everybody rats. Everybody rats. And I know so many people are already furiously typing if they think I'm gonna say that they don't, but they do. It's the thing is there's like two types of ratting, in my opinion. There's loading into a raid with the expressed intent of going to a place, taking your hands off the keyboard, and just waiting there until you hear someone, right? A la Stank Rat. I love Stank Rat. Live your best life, king. If you ever kill me in raid, know that I'm gonna maul. You know what I mean? Like, but whatever. And then there's, I push around a corner and there's two guys there and they kill me and I go, you freaking rats. Those are different things in my opinion, right? And
yeah, one is like a rat is an old concept.
Yeah.
That was ultimately co-opted by General Sam in one video.
Yeah.
But like, just like I said earlier, you rat, like, you know, it's used in a lot of different connotations.
Yes.
You might as well say you piece of shit.
Yes.
You know, like,
yeah. And here's the thing is I'm definitely not, my argument isn't we shouldn't use the word rat when it's this, we should come up with a new word. That's not the argument. It's just important to distinguish that there's different kinds of ratting. You know, there's like the expressed intention of I am just going to sit in this bush a la General Sam or Stank Rat. And then there's like, I hear somebody and I'm remain completely motionless or I'm in a fight with somebody and I just never move. And in that moment, if I was in that fight, I would be like, this dude's ratting. Like I would say that and I'm not, it's not about the verbiage. That's not but the argument I'm trying to make here is that so much of the frustration is an us versus them, like the rats, like whatever. And it's like, of course, I guess no one, maybe this is just something everybody's thinking about, but nobody's talking about, but it's like, of course people are ratting. The game sucks. Like, are we talking about how like, okay, audio, we talked about this before, but I just had such a good example of this the other day on Streets, dude. One of my favorite parts of Streets is like the corner building by Check 15. You don't have to know where that is. It's a building where there's a lot of maneuverability. There's 3 floors and 2 separate buildings. And now with the new Streets expansion, they added a 4th floor and the 2 buildings connect. The 2 buildings that you used to have to like go if you're on the 4th floor, you had to go all the way down out and then right to the next one. Now they connect on the 4th floor. So there's a tremendous amount of maneuverability going on in this like little corner. I love it. I love fighting in there because the more I know about the maneuverability, the better I feel like I can play. I spent 5 minutes Shift W chasing somebody that for every second of those 5 minutes sounded like he was residing up my actual butthole. Like he's just around the corner right now. Oh, what's that? Oh, he's not there. He's on these. He's below me. What's that? I'm like pre-firing corners. And I spent 5 minutes Shift Wing this guy. I can't find him. And so what do? I just sit still and I wait. And finally he opens the door and I kill him. And I'm like, of course people are ratting. You can't hear anything. Like, you know what I mean? Everything I do as a PMC is 47 decibels louder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
The sound of my enemy is in Starfield. It might as well be positionally. We're in the vacuum of space and I just can't, like, I can't find people. I don't know where people are. And so if you're newer to the game, like if these issues persist, obviously I'm like venting a little bit and I'm molding, but if these issues are there where like everything your character does is loud, everything your enemy's character does is muffled and has no reliable positional accuracy. If we just did a case study, if we weren't talking about Tarkov, if I said I'm doing a new video game where everything you do is loud, everything everybody else does is not loud, and there's no positional accuracy, and the headsets allow you to hear your enemy from approximately 100 meters away, what do we think the player base is going to do? Not move.
Yeah, look at it. Look at it. Take this extreme, because this is how I see it. Imagine if you could use a stim that was invisibility. You could cast level 2 invisibility on yourself as a level 16 USEC sorcerer. And what it did is it made you invisible until you attacked your enemy, and then you lost invisibility, which is literally exactly how it works in Baldur's Gate and D&D. And imagine it was free.
Yeah.
Everybody would take it.
Would people use it? Yes or no? It's like, of course.
The reason why is because there's more things entirely out of your control as a player than there are things in your control. The only thing that's in your control is your mouse.
Yeah.
But your mouse is barely in control of your character's aim. So people need to take control where they can get it.
And what's in your control only hurts you. Going back to the things that the noises our PMCs make are so loud to us. Like the only things in my control only make this situation worse for me. If I'm not like, and listen, and this is coming from somebody that runs around and dies all day. Like I have enough gear and armor and money that like I'll just push the guy anyway and die. It's whatever. But it's like most people, I'm not talking about myself here, I'm talking about most people who don't have 10,000 hours in the game and aren't quite as comfortable in PvP. That's the way they see it. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is I don't think most people see it this way, that for most players, the way they see it is everything I can do in this situation is going to make things worse for me because I can barely hear this guy as it is. What I hear, I don't know what direction it's coming from. So if I start walking or reloading or moving or sprinting or put my face shield down and hear my own self breathing, I'm only going to understand less of what's happening. So they sit because, like you said, it's the only way to take control of the situation. So like audio, netcode, right? Everybody knows, okay, everybody. A lot of people know, especially veterans know, that what has been said the most over the years is Tarkov favors the aggressor, right? Peeker's advantage, desync, right side peaks. This is all true in a fair fight, right? If we're fighting and I know where you are, I can swing you pre-firing and I win most of the time because of the netcode, the desync, the peeker's advantage.
Hence the invisibility potion analogy.
Yes. In a situation where player one, let's say me running around, has no idea that there's even a player two, the netcode doesn't favor me anymore, right? I could right side peek, run around a corner, but if I don't even know you exist, the netcode kind of favors you because you have the advantage of being able to pre-fire me around the corner if you hear me running, or if I just do a quick jiggle peek and you shoot at me, that's where a lot of the desync comes in. That's where I died behind a wall. I thought the aggressor, thought Tarkov favored the aggressor. I'm peeking, I'm like, is there anyone behind this corner? And then 3 business days later, I'm behind the wall. That guy knew I was coming, so he knew I could pre-fire, right? So audio, the only way to take control is to do nothing. Netcode, if I do nothing, I kind of reclaim a little bit of the netcode advantage. Painkillers. Dude, so many people are like, dude, the painkiller change, it worked. So many less people are on painkillers now. Like so many, dude, it worked. And then in the next breath, they'll be like, everybody's ratting, dude. It's like, taking painkillers is so toxic. The only thing more toxic than that is getting shot in the leg when I'm running. So if I don't want to take painkillers and I don't want to get shot in the leg while I'm running, I'm not gonna move. It's crazy. So it's like, so my take on this is like, yeah, everybody's ratting right now. You know, of the colloquial definition, not the snake rat definition, the gamer mauled definition. Everybody's ratting right now, and it pisses me off. But the community is fighting with each other, and like this gets laid at the feet of BSG. It's like everything in this game directs the player subconsciously. You know, we talk about a lot with game design and how without saying something, a game can teach a player to do it. What's the game Jonathan Blow made? You said that did an amazing job at that.
The Witness.
The Witness, where it didn't have to tell you to do anything. It just gave you the tools and you figured it out yourself. Tarkov is a game that says, do whatever you want, be aggressive, PvP, do all these things. And every tool it puts in front of you is like, just put these cement shoes on and wait. And so it's like, of course. So it's like, I'm definitely not saying don't get mad when you get ratted. I mauled every single day and I use the word rat. I'm not on this freaking crusade to like reclaim the word. No, I'm just saying like, everybody's fighting on Twitter. Everybody's fighting with each other. People are making it their whole identities. People are making.
Is that why people are mad? I haven't seen any of the rat.
The Twitter drama was different, but this is just something I've been seeing so much this wipe. But here's the thing. Based on what I just said, it makes sense. I'm hearing that more this wipe. The painkiller change has only added to the ratting, and the audio is worse than it's been in years. So it's like, I guess my thing is less of like, I need to convince you of something, and more of just like, people are just putting their anger in the wrong place. And it sucks because there is no like solution, right? We can't just be like, oh,
well, you can't just make a video with a well-reasoned, thought-out critique of the game and its design, because then you're just complaining and you're just drama farming for views, because that's all you'd be doing. You wouldn't possibly be upset about something you've thought a lot about and want to share that discussion with the community.
Yeah. So
heaven forbid.
So it's like, there is no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. There is like, but it's more just like,
you need to let people enjoy the game.
Yeah.
Or the game is exactly how it's supposed to be, and it's supposed to be that way, and it's good that way, and I like it that way. So
yeah,
stop trying to change it.
I don't know. It just like, and I guess if there's a point to the argument, it's that, and I guess here is the point. It's that when people talk about the solutions to this, it is almost always like gear or play style dependent. Like, people are always like, we should be able to have all like X, Y, or Z ammo, on the flea, or like PvP should be more profitable because I die so much to like rats, or people need to go play different games if they enjoy this play style. And here's the thing. Every single one of those arguments has like a nugget of like, okay, that's an interesting discussion. We can talk about that. But what I'm saying is that 90% of the time when people mauled about rats or whatever, the conversation goes that route of like what gear or what playstyle or what game. And what I'm saying is that 90% of it should go this way, not in the sense that we can convince BSG to fix their game quicker, but in the sense that I don't think people realize if exactly Tarkov right now, with the same busted up economy, the same busted up recoil, the same busted AI, if all those things were exactly the same, but the audio was really, really good, the netcode was a little bit better, and they took my idea, not my idea, the community's idea for the adrenaline effect, I think so many more people would move. I think the game would be black and white. Would you still get Stankrat out there hiding in a bush? Absolutely. Would you still get General Sam hiding in D2? Absolutely. But by and large, PvP, like engaging with the game, if the tools that are set at the player's disposal is fight, move, run, extract, you know what I mean? PvP if you want, don't PvP if you don't want, but like you have the power to do those things, I think it would be that. Like, I just think people point the wrong direction. You know what I mean? I don't think changing this ammo or changing the whatever. I really, or even Arena. Yeah, everyone's like, well, all those chads will go to Arena. No, if Arena has the same audio and painkillers, like, I need people to understand this. You know what I mean? That it's like, Arena will be the same thing. The meta for Arena will be, like, I promise you, if the audio's the same, if the netcode is the same, and if the painkiller effect is the same, the meta in Arena will be to rat.
And the only difference will be is if there's like a 3-minute timer for a round,
Yeah.
and then they have some sort of killer comes out and starts shooting at people who don't move. Well, then for 2 minutes and 45 seconds of the match, it'll be that, and then afterwards,
and that
they're
will be
gonna
the
slow
most
crouch.
classic, like, ass backwards solution to the problem. You know what I mean? Like, the audio sucks. This, like this, all the tools we give people are to play slow and do nothing. How do we fix it? Let's just have the game kill you if you don't move. Like what? Like, what if we just fix those things? So that's been a thing that I've been just like thinking on so often. Is just like, I really don't mean this in the like, oh, we got to protect the rats. They're fun too. The casual. I really mean it in the sense of just like, I'm all about this all day too. It's frustrating. It's a problem. But like, it's not because of, it's just because the game, this is the only logical conclusion of the current game design is this. It just won't, you'll never be able to convince 300,000 people or however many play on Wipe Day or whatever to not play this way. When the game gives you these tools, it'll just always be this. There will be outliers, but by and large, the landslide will just fall this way. Like, it can't not. So that's been something I've been pulling my hair out.
Dude, I'm like, thank you for this, because you're just reminding me how happy I am playing single player games.
Yeah.
There's just one less element. Like, even Starfield, when it was at its worst, it was like enjoyable because of Schadenfreude. Like watching a train wreck, can be entertaining. But yeah, I don't envy you, and I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, so I don't know. I find it interesting, and then I also like, I also find it interesting that, like, a lot of the times the chads, the giga chads that want, whatever, like, ammo or they want the best guns on the traders, the best ammos on the traders, because they want to be able to use like the best stuff. They want to be able to use the most efficient gear or tactic or whatever that's available to them. And I just find funny is that, like, they have such a disdain for people basically doing the same thing. Like, right now, sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. Right now, the highest chance you have for success in the game is employing this strategy. And it's just funny because I see a lot of the chads when they're arguing for like economy or balance changes, it's because they want to be able to use the best. But then there's such a disdain for people who use the best strategy. You know what I mean? And once again, I am not the guy that's like, this is supposed to be a tactical game and you're supposed to play slow. No, I'm freaking muling SJ6's shift Wing people. I just take the 10,000 foot view, and once again, I just feel like people are fighting each other and just like letting BSG off the hook on this stuff. I know letting BSG off the hook, people come at them for cheaters and whatever, but this stuff, I feel like everybody fights each other. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird, man.
I mean, yeah, like the game creates the meta.
Yeah.
And the meta can be multiple things at once. And because of the game design of Tarkov, the meta is two extremes.
Yeah.
Right? Everything in between, which is why I hated it so much towards the end, because I was in the middle. I tried to play smart and tactically, and the game no longer rewarded that. And like, what I would do, remember how, like, I'm sure other people did this. I'm not going to say like I invented this, but I never saw anybody do this, and I kind of like developed the whole thing on my own, where you know, people would be jiggle peeking, right? It's either two people in a
Yeah.
hallway jiggle peeking each other. Well, what would happen is I would run down the hallway, fire a few shots. They would jiggle peek out. I'd fire a few shots. They'd go back in. Then I'd go prone.
Yeah.
So that when that came out, they were like, oh. And it was the equivalent of surprise. Like,
yeah.
You thought I was here, but I was over here.
Yep.
That's like the closest I could get to you didn't know I was here, but I'm in a bush.
Yeah.
You have to surprise people.
Yeah.
Because getting the jump on them is the only thing you can, when there's so much RNG.
Yeah.
With shooting and with ballistics and with the net code, all of those other factors. It's like if I'm gonna choose anything. Here's a new game I'm gonna devise. Right, you have a dice. You have, you know, a die.
A die.
I hate seeing the single version of it. You have a die. I have a die. Okay. When we roll the dice at the same time, whoever has the higher number wins. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now imagine that I get to roll the dice before you, and we get to say, is 2 bigger than nothing? Okay, you win. That's what they're doing. They're taking it's a surprise round. More D&D. It's a surprise round on you. Would you rather have that, or would you rather have you get to roll first against nothing, or +5 to your roll?
Yeah.
You want to roll first, right?
Yeah.
Or the +5 to your roll basically guarantees that if they aren't ratting. If both, okay, I'm not going to extend this metaphor anymore, but because I was thinking about like a third option. It's like game theory, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to invest all of your eggs into one basket or another basket?
Yeah.
Which is why the two extremes, are the way they are.
Yeah.
That went off the rails.
I'm following, and it's yeah. It's the game creates the meta, like you said. I just think it's people lay the stuff at the feet of like Stank Rat or General Sam. Everybody's ratting in the game because of them, and it's like, oh my god, like, yeah, maybe there's 50 people out there laying in bushes at Path to Shoreline because of Stank Rat, sure, but like that's not why you swung the corner in the like post office of Streets and the guy was chilling in there. He was chilling there because he didn't freaking know what else to do, you know what I mean? And once again, I'm saying we should move around more. I'm saying PvP should be more active. I'm saying, but what I'm saying is that it would be if the integrity of the fight and the experience was better, if the sound was better, if it's just like, you know, I'm saying it. I think it would be with those things alone. I think it would completely change PvP.
Is the time to kill still quick?
Yes.
Imagine. I mean, once again, here's one of my points from 8 billion years ago. Imagine if there was 100 shots was the time to kill.
Yeah.
Imagine you're bad, and as such you're not confident, and as such you're in a bush. If I'm running along and you get that head start, I feel pretty confident that I'll be able to turn and hit you with 100 accurate shots. Actually, I'll be able to hit you with 50 headshots, which will kill you faster than 100 body shots, and I'll win.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why I was arguing I don't want to make it Starfield bullet sponge.
No.
I shouldn't have to go through literally 9 magazines, but you extend it a little bit longer. You make armor work a little bit more. Well, then you get to play the game, and it's not just, oh, I just died to the quote-unquote rat or whatever.
I agree.
You get a chance.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I see is it's all so interconnected and like a lot of people don't see those connections. Like, people see you want the time to kill to be longer. That means you want to take X ammo away from me. Don't take X ammo away from me. The whole point of the game is PvP and to grind good stuff. And I want to be able to use the best stuff. And it's like, but what if I told you that if the time to kill was slightly longer, then that meant this other part of the game that you hate so much, you get to win 80% more of those fights because it places then on skill. And then if you're winning more of those fights, then maybe people aren't sitting in bushes as often because they're seeing that as a less effective strategy because they're losing. It's like, it's so connected.
What's more hardcore, immersive, milsim, you know, high T gameplay it takes a few more bullets, time to kill,
Yeah.
or everybody sits in the bushes.
Yeah.
Because people will reject the solution to the problem that is worse because they look at it and say,
Dude,
nope, that makes it more arcadey. That makes it more casual.
And people
well, now you sit in a bush and camp there. That's as casual and arcadey as you can get.
Preach. Like it's 100%. I get put in the basket of both. Both sides get so mad at me when I talk about this stuff because like I made a whole video. This was like a year and a half ago. I made a whole video about how I thought like the optics, the Voodoo and the Razor optics. I'm like, they're so good. There's no downside. You can buy them off the traders. You can buy them off the fleet. They're infinitely accessible. These optics are too good. They should be nerfed. And the PvP community went off the rails at like how ridiculous that is. But then those guys get so mad when they get one-tapped all day by rats. And it's like, well, you get one-tapped because all the maps are short enough that as long as this dude has a Voodoo on his RFB, he can one-tap you from anywhere. You know what I mean? So it's like, and
if you're a better player and you've got a TT with one bullet and iron sights at 100 meters, wouldn't you rather be the better player in that situation with iron sights, or would you rather have like an RSAS with a Voodoo? I would be more likely to win with the TT.
Yeah. So it's and once again, I'm not saying that getting rid of the Voodoos and the Razors are the only way to balance PvP. But what I'm saying, the core of what we're saying here is exactly that. It's like people's opinions on so many things are so deep and ingrained, and it's XYZ. And I feel like a lot of people don't see how they all interconnect. Like I want fast PvP, I want fair PvP, I want lots of PvP, I want like whatever. But then this community is like, well, no, you can't do that. And then that community is like, it's like, don't we see how like all these things can be connected? Like what gear we have access to? And that was why there was so much hatred. And that was why I was kind of frustrated too with the SVT and the AVT this wipe, because it's a semi-auto and full auto Mosin that's accessible super early level. So the game just added another tool on the tool table that was like rat, because the audio sucks, you know that.
Tool table.
The tool table, Tim, the tool table man. The audio sucks, you know that. The netcode sucks, you know that. Painkillers are even more AIDS now, you know that. Also, unrelated, here's a gun for 38,000 rubles. That's a semi-automatic Mosin. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with it? Do people really think people are gonna shift W with that gun? No. And I was frustrated at the SVD because I was like, we just keep giving tools for ratting. Now, if audio was perfect and the adrenaline effect was in the game and the netcode was better, then maybe the SVT wouldn't be that big of a deal. You know what I mean? It's just all connected, and I definitely don't have the solution, but everybody's just so like scared to give an inch. You know what I mean? On any of this stuff. And I think
they don't see further than one dimension, and neither does BSG, which is the problem.
Yeah.
So like anybody who's spent any amount of time playing the game and any amount of time thinking about it, you're talking to people who we're playing 4D chess, and they're playing Connect 4, but they only have red pieces, and like that's just the way it is, right? Like you say change one thing and they say, well, but then this and this and this and this and this is broken. It's like, well, I didn't say change the one thing and then lock down the source code forever. Don't touch it, walk away. You know, it's like, but did you really, what do they expect me to say? Here's my 32-step plan that I want to implement for my 30 days. My first 30 days in office as president of Tarkov. Here's what I'm gonna. It's like,
and I just want, and all of this thoughts just makes me more like frustrated at like just the game and just BSG. I just want, and I'm not saying they're not working on it. I just like, it's been getting hard. Like somebody made a joke, like an actual joke. Like I don't even think this guy is like a dude that like giga rages on BSG, but they made a joke that's like, that like hurt me on a deep, deep level.
Uh-oh.
Not like offended by them, but just how true the joke was. And it was like I died to like some like absolute bonkers, no audio, whatever. Like it was just like the audio was so obvious. The audio was just so scuffed there. And he was like, "Don't worry, this is only the third audio engine." And I was like, pain. You know what I mean? I was just like, and so the more I play the game, and the more I critically consider the game, the more I realize something like the audio, this one thing, affects everything. PvP, in my opinion, completely changes. It gets quicker. Not just people are like, of course PvP changes. You can hear. No. But like, I don't think people realize as a result of being able to hear, people would make more confident decisions and they'd move and they would flank because they could trust what they would hear. So it's like, the more I consider the game, the more I consider like how huge like audio is. And then he just like hits me with the like, don't worry, it's only the and I'm like, I'm gonna cry because I'm like, when is it gonna get better?
You realize how far away we actually are.
I'm just like, all I can do is co-parter. Like that's all I can do.
Well, because then you start to think, as the moment you start to think, you start to realize, well, first of all, they have to fully implement the engine. And then after that, they have to fix all of the bugs that all the things they've fully implemented. And then after that, they have to make the right decisions about what tweaks should be made to make the game a better experience. And then they have to implement that in a way that isn't broken.
Mm-hmm.
How much time you got, bud? How much time you got? 525,600 patches.
Yeah, and like, dude. I'm sorry, listeners.
Measured in bugs. Measured in bugs. Oh, measured in bugs.
Dude, I'm sorry. This was absolutely a mauled cast today. I'm descending into madness and like.
You wanna, dude? I can give you a palate cleanser if you want. This is like I think amuse bouche might be appropriate in this context. I still don't know what that is, but I'm gonna say it. It's like the crackers between the wine tasting.
Okay.
Back to a quick Starfield reference.
Okay.
One of the things that I hate so much about that game is how little respect it has for any of your decisions. There's three choices for dialogue at any given time.
Yeah.
It's, you're the goody two shoes, do the right thing. I'm a suck up. I'm a teacher's pet. Don't worry. I'm happy to, but hey boss, anything for you, right? Then there's your dad.
Oh, and like then, dad joke. Yeah. Yeah.
Like at one point there's a woman freaking out about a thing. Like, and she's like, have you ever had that problem? And the literal like second response in the list is, problems? Huh, I've never had any problems. And then she goes, wow, really? It's like, did a toddler write this? And then the third option is Sid from Toy Story.
Yes.
I'm gonna stick a needle in the ant before I set it on fire because I'm such a sick. And then when you pick that option, what happens is
everybody's like,
your follower goes, you're a piece of shit. And then you get taken back to the dialogue options where it's just 1, 2, and 3, but 3 is like a little bit grayed out because you've used it already. Nothing actually changes other than your -1 rep. Okay. You have so little agency over anything. I just watched a summary video, 2 summary videos that are like an hour long each.
Mm-hmm.
And the number, I should probably, it'll be too long, but this would be effective. If I put in a compilation of, it doesn't matter what you do here, the outcome is still the same. This is what happens at the end. And these guys weren't criticizing the game. It was like a tutorial of like the story. And they kept saying, but don't worry, none of your choices matter. It's the same outcome. Like, have no fear.
Damn.
Over and over and over and over and over again in different videos from different people. Okay.
Whoa.
Now picture this. You can like do things with your the different companions, the members of this like organization, right? You can try to like, there's dating aspects, right? Like try to romance them. You can get them to like you. They can become your friends, whatever, right? Very minor, generic, vague spoiler alert for anybody here. You'll have to come back. Fast forward 63 seconds. Later on, I'd say like 3/4 of the way through the main story quest.
Yeah.
The game kills off specifically the person who you've invested the most amount of time into. It's either that or it randomly chooses between the top two. It'll put them in two places and you have to choose. So it effectively is like, oh, you invested all this time.
Oh my God.
I'm just gonna kill them.
That's like such a BSG way to like, like we need an emotional moment. Let's just kill the person that
bro, and not even that, but let's do it in the most cringeworthy way possible. Let me show you. I want to show you this real quick. First of all, can you hear that?
Yes. Wait. Yes.
Wait for it.
Wait, no, I can't hear it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no audio here because it went to the. It doesn't matter though. Just
okay.
watch. You don't even have to hear anything. All I will say is there's no music playing. There's zero music. You just hear the kind of
the footsteps
of like the air conditioner in the space station or whatever.
Okay.
So imagine this. Actually, I'm going to narrate for all the people in audio.
Oh, yeah.
You see a guy run up to a dude.
This is my.
That's basically out, and it's basically like a. It's just a body lying on a JPEG of blood.
Okay.
Okay. You guys run up to the guy who, remember, this is your best friend in the game, and then another guy, one of the other members, sits in the puddle of blood. Lifts the guy's head up. Okay. And again, there's no music. It's just silent. And then, now I don't show this, I cut it out, but you're given the option to be like, hey, can you hear me? And then you choose it, but you don't do anything or say anything. The companion says basically the line. Okay. And he's like, hey, can you hear me? It's Sam. And then like 3 seconds of silence, and then you get what are the 4 dialogue options, and you're like choosing, and they're all like, oh my God, I can't live without you, like the most absurd, dumb, like they're like forcing you to have like a panic attack in the options that you get while it's completely silent and you're standing over your best friend's dead body, and then it's just like, he's gone, and then he says, come on, let's get going, no changing anything now. Stands up, lays him back down into the blood. Okay. And then he just stands there and like looks at you like, what next?
Damn.
And then you walk over to your quest marker of the guy down the hallway, and there's a woman talking with the guy, and she says, Vladimir, oh thank goodness you're okay. Where's Barrett? The guy, who in my run just died. And he goes, he's gone. And then the subtitle is shocked crying, and she goes, oh! And then he turns to you and says, we gotta talk locks and bolts. The lodge and the eye aren't secure. And there's no music. There's no music. Oh, but you also get the like 15 XP.
Quest complete.
Quest complete kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, like the next NPC you walk by, she's like, is mining on the schedule today? And then I'm like, what? I go walk up to her and she goes, you look well. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I forgot you're just a script that has no idea. There's no context of what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Like I could, and that's the most emotional moment in the entire game. Bro, I watched the Starfield trailer and it gives me goosebumps, bro. They're literally like, it's the whole epic soundscape of the fantastic music, and they're like of the space, and they're like, this is it, like our moment to go into the stars and see the unknown, the great blah blah blah. And it's like it gives me chills, dude.
Yeah.
And then you fly up into space for the first time, and it's a cutscene, it's quiet, and it's like all right, well, let me teach you how to fly the ship. It's like, where's the awe-inspiring? Like, just show me some stars and put some strings over, and I'll cry.
Yep.
Literally,
Yep.
it doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much.
I'm such a space simp.
Yep.
I literally, when I hear the Outer Wilds soundtrack, I can't not tear up.
Yeah.
It's impossible for me. My wife came down the other day. I was editing some, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Sorry, it's just this soundtrack." I literally was crying, dude. It doesn't take much.
Yeah. Yep.
And this game is literally like, you want to feel something? You know, like, it's just so bad. But Tarkov, but you know, at least Nikita gives a fuck about his game. Todd Howard doesn't.
Yeah.
Nikita didn't spend $400 million. Not yet, at least.
Not yet. Wait till Arena.
$400 million, dude. 400
Was that the budget of Starfield? $400 million.
$400 million spent on this game. How do you measure trash games?
Where
Measured
did it
in.
go?
That's the new soundtrack, dude.
Where did it go?
How much did Baldur's Gate cost? Baldur's Gate costs, I don't know, like 50 or 60 bucks. It was cheaper than Starfield. Now, granted, some people actually said earlier that, well, like, did you consider the fact that it's basically free with Xbox Game Pass? So people are basically saying like, oh, it's a free to play game. Like that's the, okay, I paid $100 for it.
Yeah.
It ain't free to play for me.
Damn.
But yeah. And you know, I think it was 400 million, 500 developers, 7 years. Now Larian, I think it was like 300 million, like 300 developers and 7 years.
Yeah.
But it's like,
but yeah,
that's exactly the reason why, like, oh, we shouldn't, when I hear let's not put them on a pedestal, it's unreasonable. It's like,
that's unreal.
I literally want to get this guy in an interview just so I can say, okay, yeah, but what do you think about Starfield? Because if he doesn't say it's a travesty and I wasn't talking about Starfield,
yeah,
you know, if anything, he might have been, maybe the guy was, even though he never said it, maybe he was trying to argue for like the small 3-person team indie dev, you know, Vampire Survivor developer. Like, sure, they're not going to be able to afford 20 writers and 60 voice actors. Yeah. And they're not going to be able to pay them, you know, like,
but
sure.
The thing is nobody expects that of them. Like, gamers have shown time and time again, like BattleBit blew up in spite of its blocky graphics, almost because gamers were like, 3 guys made this? That's sick.
No Man's Sky was 7 dudes.
Yeah. Valheim blew up. That was a super small team. So it's like, even if he was arguing for that, I would say it was an unnecessary argument, because gamers have shown time and time again that we're here for the small indie dev too, like, as long as the game is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of like the point of my video too. It's effectively like, it's not about, like, I think the guy is seeing it wrong. I feel like, now granted, he's a game developer.
Yeah.
He's a studio head, a game designer, game developer, and a writer. So, you know, like, I'll keep in the back of my mind that maybe he's got some perspective that I don't.
Yeah.
But it seems to me like he's seeing it wrong, because what he's doing, and he points it out, he says, look at all the money and look at all the developers and look at all the time that they spent on, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, but it's not the developers, and it's not the early access, and it's not the time. Those things aren't what makes the game.
Yeah.
It's not that it's bug free, perfectly stable. It's not any of these things that you're saying. Don't expect that. It's that they gave and they put their pride into it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a hobbledy-gobbled giant corporate mess like I'm sure Starfield is. I'm sure a lot of people put their their blood, sweat, and
for
tears into
sure.
the aspects of Starfield that they worked on.
Yeah,
There's no denying that.
For sure.
But I'm not pointing to John Smith, programmer 17.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying you made a trash game. I'm saying Bethesda and Todd Howard.
Yeah. Yeah.
You f***ed up, which is ultimately the people who are in charge and who are the ones that signed off and made the important decisions. It's not the little guys, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because Bethesda, if there was someone who was incompetent, Bethesda should fire them and hire somebody competent. The company is the one who's responsible.
For sure.
So yeah, it's none of those things, right? Like Outer Wilds is still like my favorite example. The problem is I can't use it in the video without spoiling the entire game, and I refuse to ever spoil that game. I use two examples from Outer Wilds. One of them is literally I walk up and I read a thing on the wall, and I was frozen for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
From the one line I read on the wall. No voice acting. You don't need voice acting.
Yep.
There was one piano hit with 2 notes, and it was like heart. Like,
yeah.
You don't need an orchestra.
Yep.
You don't need 8 billion whatever. And only a handful of guys made the game. It started off as a dude's college project.
Really?
Yeah. And the game's incredible. And the other example that I use, because I don't want to spoil it, it's literally just the audio. I don't even show the video. I just have a Outer Wilds wallpaper, and you just hear me go, ah! Ah! And it was when a random side character that's not even important got introduced.
Damn.
And it was like, that's what happens when you think about it. Think about it.
Yeah.
I wanted Bethesda, any of the decisions that were made, just think about it for more than 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And you will come up with something better. Like, I shouldn't be able to, off the top of my head, come up with a dozen ways of improving every quest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I shouldn't be able to, right? Because when I think of Baldur's Gate, and when I think of Outer Wilds, and when I think of, you're like, how would you make that better? I'm like, I don't want to change a thing. I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
And I genuinely don't think that it's me being picky.
Yeah.
When I'm sitting there playing a game and it's like I'm getting slapped in the face with, that was terrible. That's what? Holy are you kidding? What?
Yep.
And it was the same thing with Tarkov.
Yeah,
it was the same thing with Tarkov when it was like, I'm like, how the can this be and this be and this be? You know, but I'm a Tarkov simp. I can't wait for the next guy.
Dude.
when I'm malding about Starfield 2, and the guy's like, dude, you're just simping for Starfield 1. Like, you're just mad that Starfield 2 wasn't like Starfield 1, bro.
Bro, that will be a moment. I mean, that's how ridiculous I thought it was when he was like, you're such a Tarkov simp. I was like, bro. Oh, insanity. Pure insanity.
I'm genuinely worried too that they've left Starfield to the modders, and they're working on Starfield 2, just because of how little they put into this game.
Yeah.
It's like what? One more time, spoiler alert, and this is going to be a 10-second thing. There's no aliens. There's no aliens in the whole universe.
That's crazy.
There's like some bug, you know, like alien-ish kind of bugs.
Yeah.
But like
no, like intelligent life.
I was hoping that like the big bad was gonna be like something cool.
Interesting. I never thought about that before, but yeah, I hadn't.
No, and when you find out who it is, it's the biggest dick punch in the world. I won't say it because I'm sure you probably still want to play the game and other, but like, and I also like genuinely, I don't. For all the people, I'm trying to be honest. For all the people that are gonna play the game, don't let what I'm saying sour your experience. Don't expect it to be bad. Just keep an open mind.
Yeah.
And come up with your own, because there's genuinely a real possibility that I have saw so many bad elsewhere that I'm seeing more bad than I need to.
Yeah.
That's almost definitely the case. But I also feel like there's only so much bad you can see before you're like
Before that inevitably happens. Yeah.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater. I just don't give a right.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's just for me, it was the biggest dick punch
Yeah.
ever. And actually, it was so bad that me and everybody in chat at the time, literally everybody in chat, we misinterpreted what was going on because it was so bad.
That's
and it was so bad in like a ridiculously easy to fix way.
Yeah.
Like imagine someone's head was like 20% too big. You're like, is that a projection? Like, what am I?
Yeah.
Like we all just didn't know what was going on because we were all so caught up in the fact that it looked so absurd.
Interesting.
But it's like, and that's on top of Bethesda Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So I'm talking to you right now.
That. Oh, the blind guy. What a great
dude, and there's
clip.
nothing worse. I mean, the blind guy was my favorite. See, that's the that like people are like, you complain about blah blah blah. I'm like, dog, that's the only time I had fun was all of the bugs and the all the Bethesda stuff is charming.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't get mad when people are like in the floor.
Yeah.
That to me is like hilarious.
Yeah.
I get mad when the game just basically says you to 70 hours of my life.
Yeah.
Because they had like Todd Howard's great nephew wrote the plot. and it's an elaborate April Fool's joke. But the best is when half of the characters that are talking to you without looking at you, and then half of the characters that are talking to other characters are looking directly at you, and it's the most like it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's so uncomfortable.
Weird.
God, I can make fun of this game.
Oh, dude.
All day
long.
And it's fun. See, this is the thing, is that people think that I am mad.
Yeah.
And it's like when you think something is so bad that it's laughable and you're laughing about it, you are not mad. It's a different you are complaining, quote unquote.
For sure.
But
at this
you're not
point,
mad.
You're reveling in the insanity of it. And like, yeah, for sure. For sure.
I'm having a food fight with the terrible hamburger that I bit into that was made out of 100% horseradish. Like,
yes. And that's where I'm at with Tarkov now. You know what I mean? I try to not to get mad. I try to just like revel in the insanity that is this game. And
wait, there's literally a mod to just make NPCs look at you less. Oh my god. That's incredible, dude.
Oh man, we need some
what?
Tarkov
That's
mods.
actually gonna be really telling. Actually, I actually can't wait to be vindicated. I'm making a prediction that like of the top 10 Starfield mods after like 6 months or a year, they're gonna be like change the main story quest to not suck. It's gonna be it's the same reason why one of the most popular Skyrim mods ever is skip the intro. But here's the thing: the intro was amazing once and once only, and then after that, it's AIDS.
Yeah.
Because you can't skip it.
Yep.
Right? You know, so it's like little things like that where, for someone to say the intro of Skyrim is bad, I would, by itself, I disagree.
Yeah.
Because it really isn't that long when you consider Starfield is 4 minutes of nothing burger conversation. And Skyrim is like, 90 seconds or whatever with some like interesting conversation until all hell breaks loose and it's epic. But yeah, like I think we're gonna see and combat is also another one. More realistic combat is another one of the most popular. It's one of the first Skyrim mods I installed.
Yeah. You think like that's gonna be in Starfield as well?
Actually, no, not in Starfield. See, that's the thing. is that so many people who complain about the bugs, they complain about the performance, they complain about the how like goofy and broken everything is, and they complain about how bad the gunplay is and how squishy everything is. And to me, that's like, I actually genuinely think that the gunplay was fun. I think the characters are bullet spongy as, and that's it. Here's the thing: is that so are you. So what it is, it's like bumfights.com, where like, it's like, imagine having to slap someone to death who is also trying to slap you to death. At some point, it's just annoying. You just are like, please kill me, right? Like, me. Now, I also recognize that I literally didn't mod a single gun.
Oh, interesting.
Because I couldn't be bothered to go anywhere near the crafting tables.
Yeah.
Because there's so much junk, and I have no idea. I was just so uninterested in any of the modding. I did do a little bit of the spaceship building, and it's pretty AIDS UX wise, but it was like, I could see how it was super fun.
Yeah.
But you don't fly your ship anywhere.
Yeah.
You literally can get in fights with it, and then you fast travel, or you walk around in it. So it's like cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I feel you.
But yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Freaking slap fight to the death. That's pretty much it.
Can you imagine?
Oh, that dude, no.
Slap somebody to death?
Dude, have you ever seen like the slapping competitions?
Yeah, well, see, whenever I watch them,
Weird.
it's always like it seems to be like, this guy broke the rules. Like, and I mean, of course, me only ever seeing like 6 TikToks about it, I'm looking at it like, bro, he just slapped him.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's the same. I've only seen clips of just some dude slapping another dude, and that dude just goes unconscious, and then you're just like, oh, you can't do that. And then it's just like, but it's just hilarious that those exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't.
My favorite, dude, I used to watch these
That's
videos.
just like speed running traumatic brain injury, dude. That's all that is.
Have you ever heard of combat juggling?
I've heard of contact juggling. The guys that with the balls.
No, I've
not. Oh my god,
Yo, audio listeners, you just Yo.
Oh no! I feel like I just had a stomachache moment. Oh fuck.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I'm dying,
dude.
Oh god.
No, combat juggling is it's 2 teams of 3, and you're juggling like bowling pins. I don't think they're actually full weight bowling pins. And
are they like swords?
And the thing is what you do is you get close to another guy on the other team juggling, and you throw one of yours really, really high in the air, and now you have 2, and you try to knock one of the ones that guy's juggling, and then you catch the one you threw up. So you have to always maintain a juggle, and you just have to launch one, and you try to literally smack the it's hilarious. It's not something I got into. It was something I watched and laughed hysterically at for months. I'm gonna have to check that out purely out of the hilarity of it.
Now, see, are you familiar with contact juggling?
No, I mean, I don't know that I want to be.
This is something that very briefly, while I was a teenager, I wanted to get into, but I had the better sense to know that there was no way I was ever going to do this in public. Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, I would hope not. Oh, okay.
Like, how sick does that look?
Okay, yeah. I have seen this stuff. Yep.
I think, like, wasn't there like David Bowie did it in that weird movie or whatever? Yeah, Fushigi. It's also called contact juggling, but that just looks cool as. I was like, yo, I want to
It's, like,
do that. And then I realized, like, can you imagine being at a party and be like, yo, dog, you guys ever seen
Check
Contact
this out,
Juggling?
dude.
That's like literally one step worse than like, yo, you guys ever heard Wonderwall? And then pulling out your acoustic guitar and everybody's like, oh my god.
It's the one with the balls. Dude, that needs to be an emote ASAP, chat. ASAP. Well, this was quite an eventful episode of the podcast. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for hanging with us. Let me tell you, if you want even more of this, I don't know what you would call this.
We go more off the rails.
We go even more off the rails.
You don't just get the balls, you get the full peepee.
You get the full peepee. The podcast Patreon, patreon.com/thepodcastpod. It'll be linked down below. But yeah, wow, what an episode.
You know, every time you say, or you or anybody else says down below, I just think about what platform we'll be on 3 years from now. We'll be on like the Jive, the Jive platform wiki, whatever where it's on the left side, and everybody's been like, everybody look in the comment section on the right, and then YouTube like, switched it.
Yo, it's so
check out the annotations. Gonna be right here. There's no more annotations.
Yo, I remember when they took away annotations. Holy cow. But anyways, thank you guys for hanging. Thanks for going on this journey with us, and don't forget about the balls. Thank you guys for hanging with us. We will definitely see y'all on the next one.
Peace.